All right, so we're doing day 3, solving multi-step equations. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hook up this warm-up. Hook up these 3 problems. So go ahead and press pause and try those out. All right, so hopefully this says d divided by 7. What you do instead of divide by, you multiply by 7 on both sides. So you got d equals, these cancel. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Negative 14. And you can check your answer. Negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. All right, the next one. Remember, when this was a 1-step, that's easy to solve. But when it's 2 steps, remember you're doing PEMDAS backwards. You're going to start with addition and subtraction and work your way up. So we're going to get rid of this minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides. So now you got 5v equals 35. It says 5 times v, so what do you do instead? Divide by 5. And you get v is 7. V is 7. This last one, again, get rid of addition subtraction first. Subtract 7 from both sides. So now you got 3k equals 6. Then how do you get k by itself? It says 3 times k. Divide by 3. K is 2. And I know we didn't check our answer here, but here, let's check our answer. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 7 is 13. All right, so what we're doing today is we're going to add another step to our how to solve equations chart. And today we're going to add step 1. Step 1 is simplify. Oops, I forgot an I. Simplify both sides of the equation. Simplify both sides of the equation. Step 2, you ain't ready. We'll talk about that later. Let's go to step 1. Step 1. First thing I want you to do is draw that dotted line through the equal sign. And step 1 says simplify both sides of the equation. So 4x plus 2x minus 5, we can simplify this side. 4x plus 2x is 6x minus 5. Now put your equal sign right back there on that line. Equals 25. Now once it's simplified, it looks like just like these problems up here in the warm-up and the stuff that we did yesterday. So get rid of addition and subtraction first. We're going to add 5 to both sides of the equal sign. We're left with 6x equals 25 plus 5 is 30. 6 times x, we divide by 6 on both sides. So our final answer is x equals 5. All right, so go ahead and press pause. I want you to try 2 and 3 with your people. In your groups, try numbers 2 and 3. Go ahead and press pause and hook them up. All right, let's check those answers. On the first one, draw that line so we know what's on the right side, or the left side in this case is all set. There's nothing to do. However, on the right side, you got negative 8 equals negative 3m minus 2m is negative 5m plus 7. Now it's like we've been doing. Subtract 7 from both sides of the equal sign. So you got negative 15 equals negative 5m. No, we got to get m by itself. No, it says negative 5 times m. So what are we going to do instead? We're going to divide by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. Negative 15 divided by negative 5 is, well, negative divided by negative is positive. 15 divided by 5 is 3 equals m. That's our answer. M is equal to 3. Now you could check yourself. Plug it in. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. Now this says negative 2 times 3, so that's minus 6. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. So we know we are right. Number 3, oops, draw that dotted line and simplify the left side. Here I got 6 minus 4h plus 3. So the 6 and the 3 can be added to get 9 minus 4h equals negative 3. The right side is all set. Now, what's got to go away? This 9's got to go away first. Now, even though it looks like minus, this minus applies to the 4h. This is a positive 9. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. That's kind of tricky. Subtract 9 because it's positive 9. Those are going to cancel, and we're left with negative 4h equals negative 3 minus 9 is negative 12. Then this says negative 4h, negative 4 times h. We're going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. And you can get h equals negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive. Hey, look at that. Positive 3 again. How about that? Check your answer. 4 times 3 is 12. So 6 minus 12 is negative 6 plus 3. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. Our answer on the right side. Awesome. Page 2. Oh, if I'm sniffling, I'm sorry, y'all. Seems got a little bit of a runny nose. Sorry. Anywho, these are just like the front side. Step 1, simplify both sides. Now this time, instead of combining like terms, we're gonna distribute. So this 5, we're gonna distribute to both terms inside the square, the parentheses rather. So now I got 5x plus 15 equals 50. All right. Now it looks just like those other ones. So subtract 15 from both sides. So I got 5x equals 50 minus 15 is 35. Now this says 5 times x, so we're going to divide. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. Divide by 5 on both sides. We get x is 7. X is 7. So for 5 and 6, go ahead and talk to your people. 6 is no different. You're going to distribute, but then you got another thing to do. You got to simplify. You're going to have to do step 1 a couple of times. All right, do 5 and 6. Go ahead and press pause and hook them up. All right, so, oops. Hopefully, with your people, you guys got negative 4 equals negative 6y minus 10. Remember, we're distributing this negative 2, so that's going to be negative 6. Negative 2 times 5 is minus 10. Add 10 to both sides. Oops, both sides of the equal sign. My bad. I forgot to do it there too. Plus 10 to both sides, so you get 6 equals negative 6y. Then divide by negative 6 on both sides. 6 divided by negative 6 is negative 1 is y. Y is equal to negative 1. Again, check your answers. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2. And then you got times negative 2. So it's negative 4, just like it says here. All right. Then this one. Distribute. 6x plus 21 minus 10 equals 29. Now let's combine like terms. 6x minus, 21 minus 10 is plus 11 equals 29. You're going to subtract 11 from both sides of the equal sign. Remember, whatever you do on one side, you do it to the other. So now we're at 6x equals 29 minus 11 is 18. Divide by 6 on both sides. And you get x is 3. X is 3. So hopefully you guys are 6 for 6 thus far. Let's move on to the next section. Yeah, it's gross, but you solve it all the same way. There's no different. Check it. Draw your dotted line through equals. You're trying to get X by itself. So what's got to go away first? The 5.4 times X or the minus 9.2? Remember, you get rid of addition and subtraction first, so you're going to get rid of the minus 9.2 by adding 9.2 to both sides. You might want your calculator for this, but for this one, this isn't that bad. You should get 20.5. 11.3 plus 9.2 is 20.5. Now, I'm going to use my fancy graphing calculator here. Now, how do I get X by itself? Well, you got to divide by 5.4 on both sides. So our final answer here, these cancel. X equals 20.5 divided by 5.4. Now, it's a big gross number, right? Here's the thing. We're going to round to, because they only did one decimal point here, we're only going to round to one decimal point here. So in this case, we're going to round to 3.79. That 9 rounds that up to an 8. So X is approximately, let me show you this. Instead of equals, X is approximately. This little wavy equal sign means approximately. X is approximately 3.8. All right, the next one. Trying to get D by itself. Now look at this left side. Can anything be combined? Check it, I got negative 3.45. This is a D term, so maybe like a squiggle. And then you got another regular. So these two terms can be added together. So what we got here? We got negative 3.45 plus 8.65. Hopefully you got 5.2. So we got 5.2 plus 6.71x, or excuse me, D equals 11.25. Now get rid of addition and subtraction. So the 5.2's got to go. We're going to subtract 5.2 from both sides. And we're left with 6.71D equals, what's our calculator? 11.25 minus 5.2 is that grossness, 6.05. 6.05. Now, how are we going to get D by itself? Divide by 6.71. So 6.05 divided by 6.71. Now, because, check this out, we have 2 decimal points here, we're going to round to 2 decimal points. So our answer here is going to be 0.90. Now this 1, does that make this round up? No. So D is approximately 0.90. I know what you're thinking. Why do we need that 0? Remember, because we're rounding to 2 decimal points, I'd like to keep that 0 to keep it in the second decimal points place. All right, so today it's no different. The only thing is you got to combine like terms first, or you're going to distribute first. But here's where everybody freaks out. You see these word problems. Let's do 9 and 10 real quick. All right, these word problems. Don't let these word problems scare you. Number 9, we're going to talk about Joe's dad. Joe's father is 45 years old. If his father is 15 years older than twice Joe's age, how old is Joe? So here's the thing. The first thing you got to decide is, what are we trying to find? Well, right here it tells you how old is Joe. So that's what we're trying to find. Well, since we don't know how old Joe is, we're going to call that X. So let X be Joe's age. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find Joe's age. Now, we're given that Joe's father is 45. And that's a good starting point. Because here's the thing. It says, if his father is... Now, his father's 45 years old, and his father is 15 years older than twice Joe's age. So check this out. Let's take this. 15 years older than Joe's age. So that means 15... Older would mean plus, right? So 15 years older plus twice Joe's age. Well, how old is Joe? I don't know either. We call that X, right? So 15 plus 2X. Now, that is his father's age, which is 45. So we say that 15 plus 2X is 45. All right, so that's the setup. 15 more than twice Joe's age is his father's age, which is 45. So now we solve this. Subtract 15 from both sides of the equal sign. So now we're at 2x is 45 minus 15 is 30. Divide by 2 on both sides. You get x is 15. So what? X is 15. What's the answer to this question? Well, X is Joe's age, and they want us to find out how old is Joe. Joe is 15 years old. Remember, word problems, I need a sentence to answer the question. Joe is 15 years old. All right, so 10 gets a little dicey. Let's talk about that one. A rock climbing gym charges non-members $16 per day to use the gym and $8 for the equipment rental each day. Members pay a yearly fee of $450 for unlimited rock climbing and $6 per day for equipment rental. How many times you got to go to the gym to justify becoming a member? Now here's the thing. If we go one time, let's examine this. If we're a member or a non-member. If we go one time and we're not a member, let's say we go once, how much is that going to cost me? Well, it's going to cost me $16 for that one time, plus $8 for that one time, for a total of $24, right? Let's say I go, 5 times. What's that going to cost me to become a non-member? Will be $16 per day. Right? So $16 times the 5 days that I go, plus $8 times the 5 days that I go, is going to cost me, what's that going to cost me? 16 times 5 plus 8 times 5. It's going to cost me $120. What's going on here? Go away. $120. Now, let's look at that scenario if we are a member. If we go one time, it's going to cost me $450 plus, right, they charge us a sign-up fee of $450, but then it's $6 for equipment and stuff, right? So plus $6 for that one day that I go. So it's going to cost me $456. But if I go 5 times, it's going to be $450 plus 6 times 5 equals, I'll save this expenses, $480. Now here's the thing. Both of those, if I'm only going to go 5 times, I'm not going to become a member at all, right? Look, this cost me $120 versus $480. But what happens if I go 100 times? Let's say I go 100 times. That's going to be $450 plus 6 times the 100 times I go, was going to be $1,050. Right? But if I stay a non-member and I go 100 times, that's going to be 16 times 100 plus 8 times 100, which is 1,600 plus 800, which is $2,400. So at some point it becomes worth it to become a member, right? Somewhere between 5 and 100 visits. 5 and 100, I get 480 and 1,050. Whereas here is 120. It's cheaper, but then it gets way more expensive for 100. At some point between 5 and 100 visit, it makes sense to become a member. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about if you're a non-member. Non-member charges $16 for every day. Hey guys, if you see the word per, that means we're going to multiply it by a number or a variable. So 16x, and it costs us $8 per day for equipment. So 16x plus 8x. Now, I should move this here. Sorry, y'all, if you started writing there. That's what it costs to be a non-member. Well, when is the non-member cost equal to the member costs? Well, the member cost is, if you're a member, you have to pay $450 up front. Oh, crap. Never mind. All right, thanks, y'all. Yeah, so once you finished number 9, your note sheet you'll see looks a little bit different than mine. Number 10, you can't handle yet. That's why I took it off yours. We'll talk about that next week. So go ahead and get started on homework. Check your homework guide. Your homework is in the book, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, these word problems. Don't let these word problems scare you. Number 9, we're going to talk about Joe's dad. Joe's father is 45 years old. If his father is 15 years older than twice Joe's age, how old is Joe? So here's the thing. The first thing you got to decide is, what are we trying to find? Well, right here it tells you how old is Joe. So that's what we're trying to find. Well, since we don't know how old Joe is, we're going to call that X. So let X be Joe's age. That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find Joe's age. Now, we're given that Joe's father is 45. And that's a good starting point. Because here's the thing. It says, if his father is... Now, his father's 45 years old, and his father is 15 years older than twice Joe's age. So check this out. Let's take this. 15 years older than Joe's age. So that means 15 older would mean plus, right? So 15 years older plus twice Joe's age. Well, how old is Joe? I don't know either. We call that X, right? So 15 plus 2X. Now, that is his father's age, which is 45. So we say that 15 plus 2X is 45. All right, so that's the setup. 15 more than twice Joe's age is his father's age, which is 45. So now we solve this. Subtract 15 from both sides of the equal sign. So now we're at 2x is 45 minus 15 is 30. Divide by 2 on both sides. You get x is 15. So what? X is 15. What's the answer to this question? Well, X is Joe's age, and they want us to find out how old is Joe. Joe is 15 years old. Remember, word problems. I need a sentence to answer the question. Joe is 15 years old. Yeah, so once you finished number 9, your note sheet you'll see looks a little bit different than mine. Number 10, you can't handle yet. That's why I took it off yours. We'll talk about that next week. So go ahead and get started on homework. Check your homework guide. Your homework is in the book, and I'll see you tomorrow.